when in the course of human events, we must share our opinions on the internet. We must. Because it is the fastest and most reliable way to get your opinion out there. Now, I might look like a hypocrite as I pass by all my Fnaf posters, but I loved this movie. This movie that just came out, Fnaf 2. I love this movie. And these are my responses to the criticism. It's not game accurate. I get it. You want it to be 100% game accurate, but do you really? Do you really? FNAF 2 is not super interesting of a video game. Like, people don't like FNAF 2 because it's like super repetitive and stuff. Yeah, right? Yeah, if we had that as a feature-length movie, it would be the worst movie you ever saw in your life. It would just be Mike flipping on his flashlight on and off and, just going through the motions, learning through the phone guy that some kids were killed way before he was even there. From the phone guy, from tape recordings. It would be a very boring movie. Movies do not work like video games. A video game like FNAF has to have more than just itself to be a good movie. A game like FNAF has to have more than just the game itself to be a good movie. It has to have a introduction, a rising action, a climax, a falling action, and a resolution. It needs to have all five of those things to be considered, a good movie. Or not a good movie, but a movie. I don't think that FNAF 2 the game would be that kind of thing. It would be a little bit harder. Like, it would be like, flashing his light on and off and all that stuff. It would be faster and stuff, and you would wind the music box. But I don't think you want that from a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And if you do, okay, it would be the most boring thing you ever watched, though. I promise you that. If FNAF 2, the movie, or FNAF, the movie, period, was just the game, you would be bored out of your mind in the theater. You'll be like, what is this? Like, here's the thing. Those up there are the Five Nights at Freddy's books. You see them? Yeah, see that one right there? That's I have my whole collection of FNAF books right there. And they do something different with the games too. And people have their problem with them too. So what the books do is they take something from the game, make it into something different. They make it into something, more akin to a book. A book is on paper, and it also requires a rising action, an introduction, rising action, falling action, and a resolution. It requires all those things. Introducing, rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. It requires all those things to be a good book. A book, it needs that kind of thing. If the FNAF books were just like the FNAF games, they would be terrible books. Because, who wants to read about Mike just closing doors? That's what I'm saying. You do not want to watch a movie like that. Now, if you do, more power to you, but that's not what we got. We got a movie that's actually kind of, good and not, foddling around, doing nothing. It's got actual characters. It's got real, like, motivations for the characters, and all this other stuff that makes a movie a movie. They had to turn Five Nights at Freddy's into a movie, and that's how they did it. They took elements from the games, put it in there, and took elements from the books too, put some stuff from all corners of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, and just put it out there. They just put it out there, and it was a good movie. The first one was, because it was not just Mike closing doors and looking at cameras the entire time. It had a villain. It had side villains as well. It had tension. It had drama. And that's what a movie is. You know, it's I just don't think people know what they mean when they say it wasn't game accurate. Maybe they mean the lore. The books have completely different lore than the games do. The Vengeful Spirit is a dude named Andrew. Not Cassidy, Andrew. And that's weird, because it's Cassidy in the game. The lore isn't the same in the books as it is in the games, and nobody really questions it. But when it's in the movie, you question it, because it's I guess it's more big. You want the FNAF lore in a movie. And Scott Cawthon thought about this too, actually. In one of the rejected screenplays for the first FNAF movie, is that it was just a big old, like, lore movie. And he looked at it, and he was like, it was too lore. It was too much. It was too much mini lore. So he said no. He said it's too much. It's not what I want to do here. It's too much. So he made a better script that had, characters from the games. Vanessa, is in the movie. But I don't want you to think that about Vanessa like it's Vanessa from Security Breach. Think about Vanessa as Vanessa from the movie. Think about Mike as Mike Schmidt. Because Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton, now we know they're not the same person. So, yeah. So saying it's not game accurate, coming back to my point. I guess I've been going around the point the entire time. So I guess I've been doing a pretty good job of keeping it there. So, but going back to, like, what we were talking about. It's not game accurate. It really couldn't be. Because to make a good movie, or to make any kind of movie, you need steps, a plot, progression, character growth, character development. You need all this stuff to make a good movie. And that's what Scott Cawthon and Emma Tammy and all the other people, even if you don't think that movie is good, you have to admit that it is a movie. Like, if you wanted to watch an entire movie about the FNAF lore in the games, I mean, that kind of sounds like a peak movie to me. But, like, the critics would have thought it was terrible. They would not have understand a lick of it. And the critics already think our movie is bad. So imagine what it would have been like if it was just an entire thing of Five Nights at Freddy's lore the whole time. They would have given it a fucking 0. Like, they wouldn't have given a single point on Rotten Tomatoes. It would have been absolutely terrible to them. So, the way movies are made is how we ought to think if this is not lore accurate. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's not lore accurate because it's in a different universe. It's in a different universe. It's the movies, not the games. Nothing in your precious games has been tainted by this movie. Like, Charlie, Emily, Did she die in 1982 or 1983? It's a 1 year difference. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's a 1 year difference. It doesn't matter that Mike is evil now because it's a different universe. These things take place in a different universe and nobody seems to care. But when the FNAF movie takes place in a different universe, people lose their minds because, oh, I wanted it to be game accurate. No. I think how they did it is the way it ought to be. How they did this movie is the way it ought to be. I would like a movie about the entire FNAF lore. But, like, I feel like we would be bored out of our minds. It would take, like, 3 hours to go through the entire thing. Like, let me run this by you, okay? And if you like this idea, then more power to you. But I'm going to run this by you. So, the movie starts with William Afton getting the idea to make the animatronics. He meets Henry Emily, and he's like, oh, man, this guy's so much better at making animatronics than I am. I gotta compete with him. And so he competes with him, and he loses, and he has his, all the FNAF stuff. He kills the kids. Michael Afton comes up, and he's like, oh, I gotta go save my sister and free all the souls from my dad's control. It would be a good movie, I'd say. But like, do you want that in a movie or do you want that in the games, like how they told it? Because you've heard it a million times before. You don't need it in the movie. If you are a real fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, you have heard the story of how William Afton killed all these kids and their souls went on to possess animatronics. You don't need to hear that story like the 30 millionth time. And when you do in the FNAF 2 movie, or not in the FNAF 2, in the FNAF 1 movie, it is not like that. It is different because it's in a different context, different, like, kids, different imagination. Like, it's so different, and that's good because the game lore, if you really wanted a movie with game lore, it would have just been better if they just didn't make a movie at all. Like, that seems like something that would go in a TV show. Like you know what I'm talking about? Like, it would go in like a kind of documentary-esque TV show. A FNAF lore, like, kind of, show. A FNAF lore show. I think that would be pretty cool. I think, it would totally go in a show, too. It would totally go in an animated or live action, I don't care, in an animated show where it's just like, it would go in it would go in a really, like, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes of a like a documentary-esque, like, show about the FNAF lore. I think that would be great. I don't want it in a movie, though. I want the movie we got. And the movie we got was good. And this second movie, I've barely even talked about it because I was so stuck on the first one. But the second movie we just got, people are saying, oh my gosh, why are the animatronics out? That never happens. It happens in the books. It happens in the books, like, kind of a lot. And especially in the Twisted ones, they're, like, dug up in the ground and they come out at night. But that's not really what this movie is about. They have the toys. They have all that. It's a good movie. Like, the way it ends is kind of cheesy. But I like how it ended because they come back and it was kind of funny. Not funny, but it was good. It was like, oh my gosh, here are all the animatronics and they're coming back and they saved the day. Like, that was pretty good. Like, I like how it was set up. I like how they all came together. And it was like, we are Five Nights at Freddy's. We carry the flame. It was kind of like that. But, it was pretty peak. But, it's not really Avengers Endgame portal scene because Mike goes to the FNAF 1 location and is like, hey, yo, can you help me, please? And then they come and help because, Abby is their friend. And yeah, it's not like an in-game portal scene where they come out of nowhere because of how of just like a snap. They don't come out of nowhere because we set it up. We set it up like, oh, they might come back to help in the climax. Like, I guess in-game did that too. I guess when Hulk snapped and it was like, oh, everybody's gonna come back now. And you know, I'm sorry, I'm getting way off track. I'm talking about Avengers. But this movie was a good Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I think of it less as an adaptation of the games and more of a movie. If a movie was made about Five Nights at Freddy's, or if there was, yeah, I think of it less as like an adaptation of the original games and more of like a movie about FNAF that isn't completely accurate to the games. Because it doesn't need to be. Like I said multiple times throughout this video, it doesn't need to be. And I went on for way too long, but the game, it doesn't need to be just like the games. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be just like the games. Because that's not how movies work, like I said. So, with all that being said, if you don't like this movie, it's okay. I get it. You wanted something different. But I feel like you shouldn't say what we got was a bad movie. Because I feel like you're just... I mean, you can say it was a bad movie. People have their opinions on stuff. And, you know, their opinions matter and all that stuff. But I feel like you can't say it was like... No, I can't really think of anything right now. But all I'm saying is this was a good movie to me. It was a good movie to my friends because all of the stuff, it was heart racing. It was a good horror movie. It got a few jump scares out of me. I laughed a couple times because of the comedic relief. Yeah, it was good. It was a good movie, and maybe if you don't like it, then it's okay. If you don't like it, then it's okay. You want something different, but you didn't get it. And I understand the frustration. You didn't get what you wanted out of this movie. But you probably should have gone into this movie specifically, not the first one, but this one, expecting it just to be a continuation of the first movie, not a movie specifically about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It's the Five Nights at Freddy's movie 2. It's the sequel. And, yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm done.